Well, my question has to do with reincarnation. Um, um, and my perspective about it, I just seem to be in a cynical place. Um, what it feels like is at 40 I reincarnated and began all over again, and it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, because I had about 3 or 4 months of being awake and living in heaven on earth, and then I just went back into this child place and had to grow up all over again. And I have a bitter I haven't been able to flip the switch. It feels like it's all for naught. So I'm in a very I'm not it almost feels like I come from a perspective of it being taken away rather than it was a gift.
Mm-hmm. Right. What was it like, this death? Because to reincarnate, I guess something dies.
So my husband had just died, and we had just been through a 3-year fight about. It felt like my death as well. What was it like? I heard the words "you're ready," and what I thought was the clothes in the dryer were ready. So I went down, and I'm just emptying the clothes out of the dryer, and each light bulb that went off, I realized something else, and then my body released the tension to the point where there was no fear, no tension. I was living in heaven on earth. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
The wind went right through me, and I thought for no reason to take notes about what those insights were.
Yeah. Right.
I felt home. I knew the word home. I didn't even know you called it awakening, but I didn't ever feel like it would be taken away.
Mm-hmm.
And it felt like, so now I'm in this, it still feels like that, but that even though I remember saying, well, I was in that state, sure, I'll come back again. I can even remember choosing that. It was like, but you asked me when I was in that other state. You didn't ask me when I was blind.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm mad at God. I know, it's funny, but I can't get out of this pissed off place.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm. Well, let's look at it differently. Maybe we can.
Good.
So, maybe you can look at it as having been gifted a peek into something else.
Okay.
So it's as if somehow God lifted a veil for a moment.
That's what it felt like.
And there was nothing between you and, let's say, I'm going to use my own words, but you can correct me because you know your experience better. But there was nothing between you and the freedom, or between you and sort of a carefree openness. It's just a lot of the stuff that usually you you were identifying with, or that you were experiencing, sort of was God pressed the pause button for a minute, and you were able to peek into something else. So, so maybe you can look at it as, first, it's a gift, it's a peek that you had into actual experience. It's an actual experience of freedom, actual experience of being sort of carefree and angst-free and trouble-free to a large extent. And somehow the programs were downloaded again, the old programs, the old Luis programs were downloaded again into the system, and the old patterns, you're back on board. And now there is a memory of this freedom, of this happiness, of this beauty. And so therefore a sense of, oh my goodness, why am I being punished? Why was this sort of peaked to me and then taken away? Right?
Right.
I mean, yeah, okay, so that's a familiar, that's a very familiar mind reaction, because this sort of experience, let's call it a peek into a reality that is not worldly, that is not part of your conditioning, that's not part of the mind. This sort of experience, the mind is absent.
Right.
There is no mind in that dimension. It's not even a dimension, in that non-state. And the mind comes back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
Comes back and says, "Hey, wait, no, not so. You're not going to get rid of me so easy. I'm back." But you see what happened, Luis, is that the mind sucks you back into feeling sorry, feeling cheated, feeling you deserve better, etc. It's the mind that gets back on board and gets the Luis, because Luis really, I mean, what is Luis?
Frustrated.
If you take away all the concerns, all the worries, all the plans about Louise in the future, about Louise's belongings, about her family, her job, her this, her that. If you take away that, if you sort of somehow press the pause buttons on all of these things, Louise is just peace and happiness. You see, that's the beauty. That's the beauty that lies behind the mind. What lies behind the mind is exquisite. It's peace and happiness. And this peace and happiness, that's your true nature. You got a peek in it. In other words, somehow God pressed the pause button on Louise's mind. Pressed the pause button on Louise. And in pressing the pause button on Louise, you experience God, you experience the peace and the happiness, the freedom, the all is well. Mm-hmm. So what's really lovely about this, Louise, is that you did not have to go anywhere to have this experience. In other words, you did not have to travel to Bermuda, you did not have to go to vacation to Paris, you didn't have to win a lottery, you didn't have to, it was just, you were just yourself, just there. Boom, consciousness revealed itself to you in its glory, boom, right there. And there's a big revelation in that. The revelation is that consciousness, meaning the beauty of God, the divine glory of the Absolute, is closer than close. Closer than close.
Yes, it's right here. It's right here. It's right here.
Do you see, like, when the mind, let me just, if you don't mind, whoever is listening, and turn down your mic, your volume, so that we don't have an echo, so I can just speak with Luis, but the others who are listening can turn their mics down. This way we can avoid the echo. Let me see if I can do something about that. Okay. So now that the mind is back on board, Luis, let me see if there's something else I can do here. Okay. Luis's computer, okay. All right, let me see. Okay, I think it's, okay, I think the echo is, can you still hear me, Luis? Can you hear me, Luis?
Yes, I just
Okay.
I tried to turn it off, but then I can't
Okay.
hear you.
Okay, no, stay here. I'd like to use the metaphor of images on the screen. The way the mind operates is images. They're like images, constant images of thoughts, memories, regrets, feelings, sorrows, etc. And bodily sensations, feelings throughout the body and bodily sensations. There are images, but the images appear on the screen of consciousness. Like these very words right now that you hear them through the reality of consciousness. The reality of consciousness is not hidden from you. It is what is the most predominant part of your experience. It's actually not part of your experience. It's the totality of your experience is consciousness. You need to ponder about that and notice that everything that you experience, meaning right here, right now, hearing these words, you experience through the reality of consciousness, through the reality of awareness, through the reality of presence. And that awareness, presence is peace and happiness, is that experience that you had, is not created by the mind. The mind appears on it, in it, out of it, but it's not created. It is there, the peace and the happiness and the tranquility of presence, of beingness, of your true nature is right here, right now, hearing these words. It is not an experience. An experience comes and goes, like as you well know, right? That experience came and went. It's an experience. You know, the mind says, oh, you missed out, you see? Because the mind is in the process of accumulating. It's like carrying, you're living with a backpack, and everything that you experience, you put it in that backpack. That backpack is your mind. You know how heavy it gets after 10, 20, 30, 40 years? It's a big pain in the butt. You don't need it. You can just remain as the freshness of presence. The freshness of presence is so beautiful. That's the peak you had an experience. You had a peak at the experience of consciousness, the beauty and the carefree quality of presence. So that is not an experience. The mind says it's an experience. The mind turns a non-experience. It attempts to turn a non-experience into an experience. And it says, oh, you have had an experience. You need to have it again and again and again and again. Don't lose it. Hold on to it. Grab it. Put it in your safe. That's what the mind says. As a matter of fact, Luis, the mind was completely absent during that non-experience.
Yes, I went from living from here to living from here.
Yes. So it's behind, let's say, the mind, behind the activities of thought, the activities of the body-mind, the activities of the world, is the still presence of awareness. The still presence of awareness is what hears these words right now. Be watchful of the mind turning everything into a personal experience. The personal experience is an imagined realm. The mind is this personal dream. What you are is this aware presence, like the screen. It's not personal. It does not matter what characters appear on the screen. It does not matter what story is appearing on the screen. The screen is untouched, unaffected, unmoved by the images that appear on it. So let go of that memory and stay with the perfume, with the flavor, not with the memory, not the me, I, this, but what has touched you. Something has touched you deeply. Don't give it to the mind to run with it and weave all sorts of stories about it. Maintain it in your heart. Maintain the affection, the tender quality, that the perfume of the experience. Don't turn it into an object, into an event in time, because it was not an event in time. The mind comes back and says, oh, well, yeah, it happened on January the 3rd or whatever. In fact, there was no time and space when there is a peek into our true nature, into the absolute. There is no time, no space. There is just happiness and openness and freedom. And initially there is a lot of we feel like a little off balance, because once we've been living for years and years in the belief that we are this man or this woman, it's very disconcerting to have a peek into something where the man and the woman is not there, where the identity is not there. It's disconcerting to the mind, but at a deeper level, it's very beautiful. So, God doesn't punish you. God is love, You
Yes.
know that. I know you know that. Yes, I know. God is love and beauty and tenderness, and it's a gift. Gifts come in so many different forms. It's just when we know how to receive the gift and say, oh, God, thank you. It's really, thank you for that peak that you gifted me. Now I know that there is a reality that lies beyond the mind, beyond the world, beyond the me stories, and beyond the me concerns. That's a very precious, to know that deeply within oneself is very precious, Louise.
Yeah, I'm glad I know it.
Yeah.
And my story now says I must have been way off track in order to have that experience, so I got back on track. Or
Not at all. You are off track when you identify yourself with a mortal body mind.
mm-hmm.
That's when we are off track. We're off track
So
when
I
we
feel like I'm living an illusion. I'm feeling I'm living in that body mind again. And I'm frustrated because I can't get out of it.
Mhm. Well, notice, Louise, that right now there is this perception, yes? And there is, besides this perception, besides looking at the screen, there is a certain space in which this image appears, the space of awareness. In other words, this image arises in awareness. There is a wider presence that perceives the screen, that perceives the sensations in your body, that perceives the thought, whatever thought arises. Because if that thought is not perceived, it wouldn't even be. If this perception right now is not perceived, what would this perception be? So there is this perception, but there is also an aware presence, whatever the words are, a consciousness, whatever the words are, there is something that perceives this perception, that perceives the sensation of the cat right now, whatever the sensation is, that perceives that. And that, whatever that is that perceives, whatever that is that hears these words, is not a thing. It's a formless and yet very, very real, because without this formless presence, this formless awareness, what would this perception be? It wouldn't even exist without awareness. So the form is just a teeny tiny, minuscule, a small appearance in the vastness of the formless. You see? And this formless, this whatever it is that hears these words, this awareness, is you. Because you are hearing these words. You are perceiving this screen right now. You are perceiving this perception. But without awareness, there wouldn't be this perception. Without that formless presence, these words wouldn't even, they wouldn't even be. You see, the mind is used to looking at forms. It says, oh yeah, a tree is real, a car is real, my mother is real. Uh, it's used to, the thought is real, my toothache is real. It looks at forms. The mind is just looking at forms. So from the mind's point of view, awareness, it doesn't exist. It's just a concept. It's not a real thing. It's a concept. Oh yeah, awareness. It's a concept from the mind's point of view. But the fact is, Louise, that everything that you perceive due and through and via awareness. So what is it that is real? Isn't it that is always present, irrespective of whatever image is appearing, whatever image we're looking at? What is ever present, ever constant, is awareness. And that is peace. Awareness is not stained by the image, is not affected by the image, by the event, by the thought, by the sensation. It is the mind that argues. It is the mind that says, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Oh my goodness, again, what did I do to deserve this? Is the mind. The mind meaning thought. Thought that says, I am this body-mind. Thought says I, meaning consciousness. Because, you see, Louise, it is you who perceives the screen right now. You as awareness. The reality of every experience is the reality of awareness. Without awareness, presence, consciousness, whatever the word is, there wouldn't be any experience. The experience, one could say, is secondary to awareness. What is primary is awareness. And it is you who is aware. You. Not the body, not the brain, not the eyes, not the ears, not the nose, not the shoulder, not the back. You, awareness is aware. You are this awareness that is aware of hearing these words. But the mind says, no, 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 no. No, you are this woman. You are this female, or you are this male, born in 19 something, dot, 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 and so on, the story. It's just, the mind says, you are this body-mind. But the mind, meaning thought, is perceived. What would thought be, Louise, if it was not perceived? It wouldn't exist. Say, oh, I've had a thought, but I didn't perceive it. I had a thought, but I think I had a thought, but I don't know what the thought is. No, a thought exists, a perception exists, the hearing of these words exists because they're perceived. So a thought that says you are born is perceived. What is it that perceives it?
Awareness.
Absolutely. Have you ever experienced awareness being born? Have you ever experienced your birth? I'm not asking you, have you seen pictures of Louise when she was 2 or 3 days old or a month old? That's a different question. I'm not asking you.
Rebirth.
I'm asking you, have you ever experienced your birth? Nobody has, Louise. Because consciousness does not born, does not die. At least it's important in your exploration and your contemplation to be open to that possibility. Be open to the possibility that what you are is unborn. Even if there is no proof of it, you get on board that there is no proof that you are born. I know there is hearsay information, but that's not the same as proof that you're born. There is proof that a body is born because somebody took a picture, but I'm talking about you. You is whatever hears these words, you. If you were born, you would know it. You would have an experience of that, you see. You would know, you would say, yeah, I remember my birth. And you can describe it or say something about it. Like when you were in Paris, you say, yeah, I remember Paris. You can describe, the Eiffel Tower and l'Arc de Triomphe, whatever. So remain open to the possibility that what you are is not a born form, that you are the aware presence, the consciousness that hears these words. And that this consciousness, there is no evidence that this consciousness is ever born. And what is never born does not die. This path will take you, the contemplation of this path will take you home. The home that you never left, but it will take you there beyond the dream, beyond the illusion of being a contained, limited body mind. That is the divine path. That is the high road, the path to the only reality, to the one reality, the reality of consciousness, the divine reality, the reality of God. Everything else, Louise, is a spinning of the mind. You can spin the mind for hundreds of years. It will not take you a step closer to causeless peace and happiness. But once you have a revelation to your true nature, and you come onto the teachings, care for them like you care for a newborn baby, or like you care for a new kitty, or like you care for your guests when you invite them over your house for dinner. Care for that. Take good care of the little glitter. Like when you are lost in a dark tunnel and you're groping for a way out, and at some time you perceive a little glitter of light. You focus on that and you continue to move towards it, even though it remains a glitter, and in time it takes you to the daylight. Or like when you're trying to build a fire and you get a little ember of fire going, you're very careful with it, very gentle with it, so it doesn't go off. And as you take good care of it, it will be the way in which you can ignite the fire. So when the mind arises and tries to pull you back into the me, Louise, into the me story, just release it. Release it into the space. Just tell it, okay, no problem. I release you into the space. There is infinite space. That's the meaning of space, is infinite. You release it into the space. The space is all around. Everything that arises. This room is in the space. If there was no space, we couldn't have built these walls, you see. So the house, the town, is all in the space. And then we built the walls in the space. We put the walls up and the roof up in the space. It's like this furniture in this room is in the space. It's mostly space. So there is ample space. So you can release whatever story arises. Release it to the space, okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. I can really feel into that awareness when you're
Yes.
speaking.
Beautiful. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. So if there are any questions.
Hi Magdi, hi everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello, Linda.
Hi Magdi, can you hear me?
Oh no, I don't hear you. One moment, Linda. Let me see. Okay, Linda, I think I hear you now. Can you?
Yeah, hello, can you hear
Oh,
me?
yes. Yes, Linda. Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi everyone. I didn't really want to keep hogging the show every week, but if no one else has got anything, I seem to have a lot of questions. And you know, I can see it's just mind spinning stuff. But anyway, I will talk about it. I was going to move out. I'm living with my sister, and I was going to move out, get a place of my own, you know, so I could just concentrate on the truth. You know, sort of realizing, well, there's no reason why I can't just concentrate on the truth where I am. But I just thought it would be nicer. But then I sort of realized I can't afford to move out. I haven't lived on my own for a long, long time, and then I was thinking this morning, you know, I would really like to have more money, you know, to be able to do things and travel and stuff like that. But then I tell myself, oh, I don't want to be distracted from the truth, you know. And then I thought, no, that's I'll just get a job. You know, what's wrong with that? That's got nothing to do with anything. I'll just get a job. And then I thought, oh, well, my mind was spinning. Oh, then I'll have to give up smoking. You know, you can't really smoke. And then it was just spinning and spinning and spinning, all this stuff. And then I thought, oh, I probably won't like the job because I've spent 95% of my working life unemployed. So you know, I'll probably get a job I don't like. And then I thought, well, that's probably just not true. That's just a thought. I don't need to believe that anymore. And I thought, oh, isn't that great? And then I thought, well, a lot of the stuff that goes through my mind is the fear that doing stuff in the world is going to stop me from my truth search. it's going to, you know, the thoughts that I have, it's like, oh, I don't want to concentrate on that or that or that because I just want God. And then it occurred to me, yeah, I'm scared that these thoughts, that these things I'm doing in the world are going to separate me further from God. And then I thought, oh my goodness, look at that. It's back to the old, I think I'm separate from God thing, which is not true. So that's the main thing, I suppose, that I'm really questioning. You know, how can I be separate from God? God is what I am. God is, I can't be separate from what I am. But I still would like to get a little job and have some money and be able to do things without, you know, without that affecting my ability to realise the truth. Oh dear. So anyway.
Yeah. Well, Linda, as you so well said, nothing separates you from God. Although nothing separates us from God, it's a good idea to appreciate and express one's appreciation to God's love by loving God back. And one could argue that, well, what's the point of loving God? After all, God is my very self. And it's true theoretically, and in reality that is true. It is true. And yet, when we love part of God, we're not loving all of God. So when we are loving this and not loving that, when we are segmenting God's world into bits and pieces, our love for God is not complete, and our appreciation for God's gifts is incomplete. We do that quite regularly by complaining and resisting and arguing with how things are unfolding in our life. We are quite judgmental with ourselves and with others. And in being so, we are not loving God, we're not loving. So it's important when you want something to want it out of love, not out of personal love, but out of divine love, out of the joyful, not out of the angst or out of a feeling that you're missing out, or out of the feeling that you would be better off. But you can choose and desire something out of a love for exploration, a love for experimentation, wanting to try something just for, why not, you see? But all along it's important that you maintain your freedom, meaning that you don't place your happiness in the event, in getting that job or getting whatever it is that you are hoping for or are open to. So there has to be a certain sense of play, a certain lightness about it, an openness, a willingness to explore. No matter which direction it goes, it's all okay.
Yeah, that's wonderful, because I sort of feel like it is out of love that I want to do it. It's out of love, and then the mind kicks in with other crap. But I think I did have this idea that having nothing and almost like a Christian upbringing thing, you know, suffer and then you'll find God. And the more I'm opening up to the love, I'm realizing that's so silly. So yeah, it is out of love. It's out of becoming more open, and
Yeah.
because I do.
You know, you're open to explore, to experiment, to try things. Now there are some practical limitations and there are some psychological limitations. The psychological limitations are like the fear, the images we have about ourselves, ideas we have about ourselves, beliefs we have, ideas we have about what others think about us, and all of that is a psychological limitations that are the real hindrances, that they inhibit our freedom, they inhibit our happiness and our sense of play. How fun is it to go out in the world when you already have a belief that you're incompetent, or that you're not you don't have the skills, or that you don't have that it takes much more than what you got to do it. You need to have had 20 years of experience. All these are hindrances. Go out and try. You can explore out of your freedom, but to remain acceptant of what God offers you, whatever path, whichever way it goes. If you are coming from the freedom, then your freedom will not be delivered to you by any object, because you already are coming from the freedom. You're already coming from your openness. So if you are seeking happiness in the world, you will be disappointed.
Yeah, definitely. I'm so aware of that. Yeah.
And your love for God, your love for truth, you can live it in the world. You don't have to be in a retreat or be away from the world, be in a retreat in your home or whatever. You don't. You live it in the world. Actually, it is the world is an extension of God. So when you retreat from the world, you're retreating from God.
Oh wow. Yeah.
At the same time, At the same time, when you are in the world, you can also sense where the path is more open, and where it is less open. And as a general rule of thumb, the path is open to you in the world when your interaction with the world comes from an impersonal place, when it comes from your understanding that you are the same consciousness that is in everybody, that the others are yourself, that you are this one consciousness, this one presence, and that whatever you're doing, we're all doing it. So whatever gain there is, everybody benefits from it, not just you.
Yeah, I love that. I've been living with my sister, and she, and I said to her, because I thought maybe I should move out, to give her more space and that, and I did. I said to her, look, I just want whatever's the highest good for everyone, but I don't know what that is. I don't know.
Okay, well,
I don't know what that is.
if you don't know what it is, then you don't know what it is. It's okay. But when it's clear to you what it is, then you do it. Definitely, the path that's just concerned about myself is not for the highest truth.
No.
So, and myself as just me. See,
yeah,
because it's already contracted in the space is contracted, and it cannot benefit everybody. It's just around this one core, this one center. It can't shed light onto everybody. So it has to sort of turn. It has to turn around. So yes, you are interested in exploring work in the world and being involved in the world, and so you go out and you explore it, and you're open to what could I do that benefits everybody, that brings some happiness to everybody, that can shed some light on everybody. It doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're doing it with that spirit, and then that spirit will guide you.
That's so good, because that's what I was going to ask. So all I need to do is just really just ask, whatever's the highest good for everyone.
And explore. You can explore also.
Yeah.
You have to experiment, explore what's available. If you are looking for some employment, talk to some friends, express your interest, do something to put it out in the space, not just in your internal space, but also whenever there are opportunities to connect and to reach out, do so.
Yeah. Okay, I'll do that. And the funny thing was, when I was thinking this morning with my sister, I was thinking, I just want what's the highest good for her and me and everyone. And then I had this feeling, this belief that would mean that I would have to suffer. Everybody else would gain, but whatever. But yeah, I realised.
No, that's not the highest good. The highest good has to include everybody, including you.
That's joy. Yeah. So it's including me. So it's
absolutely.
It's just joy all around, isn't it? Joy all around.
Absolutely, but including you. It's not about suffering. No way.
Isn't that fantastic? Yeah,
Yeah. If you are in the suffering and unhappy, then you need to contemplate that and find a way around that, outside of that.
Okay.
No. Unhappiness suffering is not the path to God. It's surely not.
No.
When you are aware, when you become aware that you are suffering or unhappy, then you need to contemplate that. In other words, what is it? What is it that? What is in this situation? Because there is both the internal situation where you are perceiving yourself in a psychological way as a separate entity, and therefore there is internal suffering already just from that belief. But besides that belief, there might be situations that are unhappy for you. For example, you might be living in a house next to a railroad station, and the noise of the train coming every few hours. So there might be situations or relationships with people, even relationship with family members, that might be unhappy. And they have nothing to do with ignorance. It is just a situation where somebody's has a tendency to be very blaming, to approach everything as oh, what are you doing to me? Why are you causing my unhappiness? And it's impossible to live around people like that if they have a pattern that's too strong. So uh, our unhappiness has on one hand, it is because of our belief in being a separate entity. But on the other hand, there might be situations in our life that we can do something about that will make our life more agreeable.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Oh, great. Yeah, thank you so much, Magdi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So experiment,
Yeah.
see and explore.
Mm. Yeah. I
But
will. Yeah.
but don't limit yourself psychologically. Don't. Remain in your freedom. Remain in your happiness. Remain in your openness.
Mm.
Don't allow any shadows to come in. That makes no sense. Any doubts about you? No. Just every person has their uh, skills and their strengths and weaknesses, and we discover them by interacting in the world, and we are able to therefore go along the path that speaks to us in the world. It 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 is available to us, clear to us, when we're not psychologically wrapped up in ourselves.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Linda. Okay.
Thank you,
You're welcome.
Magdi.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah. If anybody has a question.
How important is meditation to this process?
This process is meditation.
I mean the sitting kind.
You know, if you are drawn, if somehow your heart pulls you, speaks to you to go for a walk in nature, to sit with a book by Jean Klein or one of the sages, or to sit quietly, or to pray to God. If that comes to you from a place of happiness, a place of not out of a duty, or out of this, I need to make an effort in order to achieve something, or in order to. But when it comes from your love, there is an effortlessness about it. You're loving it. You find that sort of time comes to a stop, and things that might seem to be difficult are so easy under when you are doing it out of love. Like there's some people who love music, and they can practice for hours, just working on a certain, just getting a certain note to sound, to come out just in a way that their heart will go, ah, how beautiful, I just, listen to that, you see. And it might be hours that they've been doing that. It's out of the love. So when there is this quality that pulls you towards prayer and meditation, going for a walk, or thinking about God, contemplating what is the reality of this experience. Is the reality out there? Is the reality in the world, in the trees, in nature? This contemplation. There are people who travel, out of that love, out of that passion. They take 2 weeks out of their very busy life. That a great, great effort to be able to be, in a certain retreat, or with a certain teacher, or to be in a certain space, but they're doing it out of their love. Hello, Osvaldo. Hello. If you don't mind, if you can lower the volume on your this way, on your mic, this way it won't have an echo, and then when you want to speak, you can raise the volume again. So meditation is not a practice. Meditation is love. Love. It's not a personal endeavor. When you're doing something because you want something for yourself, is different from love. When you do something out of love, it's bigger than you. It's there is a magical quality to it. It transcends you. It comes from the heart, from that different dimension than the me quality, than the mind. meditation that comes like that comes from that love, the love for God, the love for truth, that is meditation. So meditation in its real meaning is love. Whenever you turn your attention towards God, it's meditation. Whenever you contemplate the marvel, the marvelous, the wondrous, the wonder, you are contemplating God, you are in meditation. Whenever you look at a child and you see that beauty, that innocence, that purity, is meditation. Before the mind comes in and says, oh, I this and he's like that, and you see, it's whenever we turn our attention towards God and God's creation and God's grandiosity, omnipotent and omniscience, we are doing meditation. We are in meditation. So in a way, there is no me in meditation. There is just love. As soon as you turn your attention towards God, towards the reality of your experience, you are in meditation. So meditation is not a practice. So I never prescribe people any practice to do any practice. It's just if something speaks to you deeply, it speaks to you from your heart. You don't need anybody to tell you to do it. It's just coming from your heart, and you want to do it. And so you rearrange your schedule. You do whatever you can to do what you love. So it's very important for you to do what you love, because what you love is different from personal desire. Personal desire and love are different things. Personal desire comes from a sense of lack, that something, I'm lacking something and I need to have this or that in order to be happy. But love is an expression that has no me in it. It's just it's bigger than the self, than the person. So the path to God is the path of love. The path to reality, the path to freedom, the path to liberation is the path of God. Not a personal God, not my God or your God. It's God as love, God as truth, God as reality. And if you contemplate what is the reality of your experience, you always contemplate the reality of your experience this very moment. You do not contemplate what was the reality of my experience yesterday, or what will be the reality of my experience tomorrow. Because your experience, Luis, is right now, this very moment. And this very moment, the reality of your experience is this aware, awake presence. The reality of your experience, everything that you experience, meaning right here, right now, you know it through consciousness, through awareness, through presence. Presence, awareness, consciousness, whatever the word is you right now hearing these words. You are hearing these words. You are perceiving this perception. It is through the reality of consciousness that the world, body, mind seem to appear. In your deep sleep, the world, body, mind dissolve. You wake up in the morning and you know, oh, I slept well. When you say I slept well, you are not referring to the dreams that you had. You are not referring to how your shoulder or your back or your legs were feeling. You're not referring to the body. You're referring to consciousness. Because in deep sleep, there is no world, there is no body, there is no mind, there is consciousness. There are no thoughts. You're not thinking about your job or your trip next year or your vacation when you are in deep sleep. And yet you know that you had a good night's sleep. How do you know you had a good night's sleep? How do you know? Because you know yourself. You know yourself. You know yourself not as a woman, not as a mother, a sister, a daughter, whatever. You know yourself. Go to that knowledge. Stay with that knowledge. Not the labels, not the memories, not the stories, but what is the reality of your experience right now. The reality of this very moment is you. This moment is nothing without you. Try to take you out of this moment. Try to take yourself. Yes, the reality is you. I'm not talking about the woman. I'm not talking about the daughter. I'm talking about that the mind cannot perceive. The mind can perceive a woman, can perceive a daughter, can perceive a sister, can perceive a tree, can perceive a world. But I'm not talking about what is perceived. I'm talking about what perceives you. That is the meaning of the I am that you read about in Ramana Maharshi and some of the sages. They say, I am. Not I am a woman or I am a man or I am this. The I, the reality of this experience of this moment. The only reality. There is only one reality. So, yeah, that's meditation. That's what I have to say about meditation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Welcome. If you have any questions.
Thank you.
Okay. See you, Louise. So if you have any questions, you can write the question in the chat box, or you can pose it. Well, if no one has any questions, yeah, thank you for your lovely company, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, Magdi.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Okay. Okay. Okay.